Hello and welcome to today's live. I am super thrilled to have you here. Today I'm going to be talking with visual artist and mother and really inspirational woman Natale Adgnot. I wish you will tell me how to pronounce her name properly, who I've met when living in Tokyo. I want to talk to her about how to nourish the creative process and while also being a mom, but also how to put yourself out there with ideas and creativity and which takes guts, right? and how to keep going and a lot of other questions. As an artist, I know that, like as a creative person, I know that sometimes visions are hard to combine with everyday life, and also inspire or life stories, life happenings can affect our creative flow and our vision. And how do we break through? How do we just keep going? And so many other questions I'm going to ask Natale. So I'm just gonna wait for her to join. Here. I like the fact, yeah. Hi, fantastic.
Hi. Can you hear me okay?
I can hear you perfectly.
Great.
I can't see you yet, but I can hear you. And yeah, I was just gonna say, how happy I am that you're joining. And I feel like, the creative part of our brain, we don't use it so much. And I also feel like looking at the kids, the way they in education, it's at least the classic education here, it's a bit more right brain and so on. So and I know, like in yoga or whatever, like breath work, also we try to stimulate both sides, and we have like the things like Nadi Shodhana, you can balance right side, right and left brain, the left brain, which is more creative, right?
Yeah.
I recently started writing in my journal with my left hand, and it's challenging, but it's fascinating. Anyway, it's all about
Very cool.
stimulating your creativity and vision. I'm not quite sure if I'm supposed to be able to see you.
Can you not see me?
No, I think you need to switch the camera around. There you go. You can turn it around. It's fine.
Hang on just a
That's
moment.
what happens in lives, and it's
Instagram. I'm sorry, just one moment.
No problem. Take your time. Yeah. I'm so in admiration of what you do. And I know Natale is gonna be back. Just fixing the. Yes, I can.
Let's see. You can see me now. Can you?
Yeah, and you're actually in your space. Oh my God, such a treat. I feel like
I'm
traveling.
so sorry, the technical.
That's okay. That's good. Yeah. Yeah, we met when we were both living in Tokyo.
Right.
Yeah, so many moons ago. Just keep on watching what you're doing. Keep on. It's so great to be able to see, and stay in touch without, just, visually and through Instagram. And
Absolutely.
So
Thank goodness for technology.
Yeah.
Bonjour depuis New York, tout le monde.
We could speak to in French too, but let's keep it in English.
Absolutely. No, it's just really nice to be in touch with someone in Paris as well. I really miss living there. I was there for 10 years before New York and Tokyo, so I envy you.
Yeah, you should come over.
I will.
Yeah. So listen, for people who don't know you, can you first, how do I say your name?
Natale Adgnot.
Adgnot.
Adgnot, yes.
Okay, Natale Adgnot. I was always struggling with the family name.
Yeah, French people do too. It's not just you.
I won't even tell you mine because it's like, okay, wait. So just for people who don't know you, who don't know your art, or can you just briefly introduce yourself, what you're doing, where you are based?
Yeah, absolutely. So my name is Natale Adgnot. I'm a Franco-American artist based in Brooklyn and also upstate New York. And I had careers in design and fashion before I became a full-time studio artist. So my work is, I guess for the past 5 years, I've been focusing almost entirely on this medium of thermoplastic that's affixed to birch panels and increasingly onto other rigid surfaces. Um, I I worked in fashion in Paris, and that was kind of where I cut my teeth as a sculptor. I actually studied graphic design, and I have a degree in graphic design slash photography. And so I had to go back to school to do fashion. And when I got out of school, I was lucky enough to begin working in haute couture. And the designer who I worked for had a lot of these really interesting sculptural accessories as part of his collections, and I was the person who handmade crazy horse head hats and metal framed pieces for the shoulders. And at the time I didn't realize it, but that was really where I sort of formed the basis for becoming a sculptor later. At the time I considered myself a Sunday painter, and then I discovered later that sculpture was more my thing.
It really is the journey, isn't it?
Yep.
It's so fantastic. And we don't need to know everything in advance. It's so very nice. I will have to ask you some questions about graphic design because my son wants to do that. So off the camera. Super interesting. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. And so you were saying, what's the materials that you use? It's very specific.
Yes, it really is. So I use a thermoplastic that it's a shrink plastic. Some of your American viewers might recognize the brand name Shrinky Dink. What it is a sort of a plastic that comes in sheets that are like paper. So you can cut and paint and draw on them like paper. And when they're baked, they shrink and they get thicker. And I've discovered over the years of using this material that you can use layers of acrylic paint on the pieces in order to achieve different textures. So that means, I could actually show you here. I don't know if we're able to get a very good shot or not, but as the pieces shrink, they develop wavy textures, wrinkly textures. Sometimes the color just really intensifies. And then what I do is I affix the pieces to the panels, either parallel like this, just flat onto the panel, or what I'm known for a little bit more are these pieces where I'm affixing the details perpendicularly like fins onto the panels.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's so beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you.
Unique. Thank you. Yeah, and you really found that style. It's three-dimensional style, and
right.
It came through different experiences as in the fashion industry. And I mean, graphic art and design certainly also felt most probably. It's just all combining everything, and you do also kind of represent crystals, right? You work with crystals, or you work with the images of crystals.
Yes, so you're actually remembering a couple of my older series. When I was living in Japan, I was focused entirely on a series called Minerals for the first year and a half. And that series was very much an exploration of stereotyping. All of the images that were in the background, they were large paintings that had many, many tiny drawings in the background of famous people, each person representing some kind of cliche. So I had, for example, to represent dense, which in English can mean also stupid, I had Paris Hilton, who was kind of the famous dumb blonde of that time. That sort of visual joke. But also pointing my finger at how we pigeonhole people into these stereotypes. And what I did was I used the names of these famous people and compared them to terminology within Minerals. So it was very much like a comparison between objective fact, scientific fact, and subjective human perception. And all of my work is, you know, you can experience it on two levels. You can experience it on a more intellectual research-based level, which is how I work, or you can just look at it and enjoy the way it looks. You don't necessarily have to get it, you know.
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to show you the ones I got.
Right, I remember.
Absolutely love. And I don't know the story behind it. You know, now I know a little bit more, but in particular this one, I don't know. I don't know if you have it, but I like the way they made me feel. So I'm not sure I'm putting it. It's this way, right?
It's that way, yeah.
Yeah. Sprout and outgrowth.
Yep. Yeah, I remember them. These are both sculptures that are based on sketches from my sketchbook series that I started in 2013 before I took the plunge and began my studio practice full time. At the time, I was working at Christie's as a graphic designer, and I was a little bit stuck because, you know, the prestige of working for this famous luxury brand and working on projects with name recognition like Warhol and Elizabeth Taylor. It kept me there longer than I should have been there. I really was unhappy. The politics in the company, it was even worse than haute couture. So I began keeping a sketchbook to sort of dip my toes back into the water of being an artist and not just a Sunday painter. And that sketchbook became my sort of parachute out of this design career that was unfulfilling. Because when I began this sketchbook, the idea was I'm going to do a sketch for 30 days. And now, to date, I have 700 sketches. Because what happened was, as I started to do these sketches, I started to realize, you know, I really do have something in me that I need to put down on paper, and it's therapeutic to do this. And that sketchbook, I didn't really know what I was going to do with it. But 3 or 4 years down the line, after I moved to Japan, I started to draw on the visual language that I had established in the sketchbook. And I went back and selected some of my favorites to include in the series that you own. Those are the genetic markers. They're all sold, so I don't have any to show you here, but
yeah.
Yep, you've got them there. And actually, I can show you. You can see my little pile of, I mean, I have this big catalog. These are all full, these sketchbooks. And this is the current one. You know, these.
Yeah.
It's a little pocket-sized sketchbook, which means that it goes with me everywhere. I have this handy little Japanese pocket that keeps everything together.
Excellent.
And that became the basis for what you're looking at. So, you know, maybe they make you feel calm because they were a meditation for me.
Oh, thank you. Such good vibes. I love the story, and I love the names behind it too. You know, it's all about, because when I know a little bit about my coaching, it's all about personal growth, right? And growing on solid foundation and creating it new and sprouting and using and reconnecting yourself, nurturing your confidence. Like a lot of I know you're a mom also, right?
Yep.
And we tend to, a lot of moms, I don't know, we just do a lot of things and we for others very often, and
right.
For a while we forget to nurture our own needs and
absolutely
balance, and it can kind of show up in almost like we all are confident, but in sometimes a little bit of a lack of that, or a lack of taking up more space. So I don't know how how do you balance your creativity, your flow, and because when you're in the flow and then the kids come in and it's like, wait a minute, I need to finish this, I'm still in my head, or I don't know.
Right.
How do you do that?
Well, first of all, I have recognized in this past year that self-care really isn't optional. It's been quite a year for me. I've been doing a whole lot of commissions that are going into public collections, and as exciting as that is for my career, it's very demanding. You know, as for the kids coming in and bothering me, I'm lucky that I have this wonderful studio space, so I am able to come here and put my head down and not be distracted. But you know, burning the candle at both ends with this new type of workload, I haven't ever had this much of a commission calendar, and this is the first time that I'm working on, like, for example, you can see behind me this very large scale panel that's I have studio assistants that I now have to manage as well. And so, I mean, long story short, the self-care that I do, first of all, is making sure that I also incorporate making art that I want to make for myself, not just the things that have been commissioned. Secondly, I'm someone who's really sensitive to smell and to music. As a matter of fact, right before this live started, I ate a clementine, partly because I was hungry and partly because I just love the smell that it leaves in the room. And I am an avid consumer of music. I listen to hours and hours of music a day, and I take time to select something that puts me in a better headspace, you know, because it can really make the difference between having a good day and a bad day, whether I'm listening to music that nurtures me or something that I feel like I have to listen to because my assistant doesn't like what I like, you know. In those cases, I've actually cut back the hours of the assistant so that I can have those 3 hours in my studio with the music to get into the flow and to forget all the other things except what I'm working on. So that's kind of my self-care on a daily basis.
I love that. Scent and music impact us in a second, right? I was also doing, this is one of the homemade ones before, you know, like I always create it, and music is so important. Oh, maybe you can share one of your playlists and we can add it to the interview.
Oh yes, it's very eclectic. I have many playlists and I'd be very happy to share them with all of you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So you get to step away and you have created your space. I mean, you don't just have the space, you created that space, right?
Yeah.
And then you bring in the things, you know, what makes you feel good and what helps you creativity and nurture your flow, and you use those things, scent and music.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So for the ones who don't step out or who don't do it, I mean, it's like the Nike ad, like just do it, right? It's like try to find pocket moments if you don't have that time.
Yeah, and I mean honestly, if it's not in me for the day to do the creative work, I wouldn't let myself do this before, but there have been a couple of days in the past month where I just said, you know what, I'm going to take a nap, and if I don't feel better when I wake up in half an hour, I'm going to go home, because there's no point in trying to eke out something that's just going to put me in a worse mood. It's better to go and do something else and come back tomorrow.
So you're very aligned and very very attuned to what you can do, and without forcing it, going
exactly.
with that flow. Beautiful. I love that. And you just recently you had an exhibition. Do you want to tell us? And you want to tell us about it?
Yeah, sure. I'm actually in 3 exhibitions right now. I'm in 3 here in New York City. Four actually, if you count the one that I'm always in, which is this beautiful boutique. Anyone who's coming to New York City, you should definitely stop by Maison 10. It's an amazing place. I always have work there. But one of the notable shows that I'm in right now is at this chapel in the city. It's the Nevelson Chapel because it was designed by artist Louise Nevelson, who is very famous as a pioneering woman sculptor. She was a refugee from Ukraine. She moved to the US in, I believe, the 1930s. So she's deceased now. But she designed this gorgeous tiny chapel in a church on Lexington Avenue. And I'm part of a group show with all women, curated by 2 women. And all the work is a reaction to our lived experiences through the pandemic. And that show is called Sacred Pause, Sacred Fertilizer. So you can look on my Instagram and find out more about it. It's up until January.
That's so, and your reaction to it, was it colorful or was it?
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I had a couple of reactions. It was partly that I added color into my work. And secondly, the thrust of that series, the series that you're seeing behind me mostly is the Bird Brains. That's my current series. And it really speaks to the reactions that people had to misinformation in the media about the pandemic and how we get fooled by biases. And so, you know, you can read more about it on my website, but that was the impetus to create that series.
Okay. Super interesting. And the other 2?
The other 2 series that are behind me, or
exhibitions?
Oh, the other 2 exhibitions. So there is an exhibition of my minerals painting, but it's in a private location in Brooklyn. And the other one is a small work show here in Brooklyn at 440 Gallery.
Fantastic. Wow.
Yeah.
So, okay, we all have to come to New York.
Please do. I'd love to see you all.
Yeah, I would love to. And does it ever you know, we're talking about nurturing confidence and creativity. And do you ever, I mean, do you ever doubt yourself? I mean, we are human beings, we doubt
Absolutely.
ourselves. And how do you navigate that?
Lean into your community. You know, of course, every artist, except the most egotistical of them, doubts themselves. And when I doubt myself in terms of my work, I seek out input from friends and from people who I know I'm safe with and say, look, am I on the wrong track here? Give me your input. And most of the time I come away either feeling okay about what I'm doing or having a roadmap to get to where I want to go.
That's great. So yeah, you get really honest feedback, heartfelt
Absolutely.
feedback.
But with someone who's safe, you don't want to get annihilated when you're already feeling weak.
No, yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And no false flattery neither. So we don't.
Right.
No time, right? No time. Okay. And see, we're already. Yeah, that's amazing. Because you know, I love, you know, supporting women and empowering women with what I do and as a coach and self-care, and helping them regain the connection and build new boundaries and so on. And we already talking a little bit about what your self-care is as in terms of where you get inspiration, and how you nurture your time when you're at the atelier with music and scent. So is there any other, well, how do you start your day? That's a big thing. Like, it's because we always read the way you start your day is the way you live your life. So
I start my day every morning sitting down for 15 to 20 minutes with my husband, having a cup of coffee that he, bless him, makes. Because throughout the rest of the day, I'm taking care of my family. And the first thing in the morning, I'm so fortunate to have a partner who does that one thing for me. And I'm so extremely grateful. I start my day with that gratitude for that small act of love. And that's our routine. And then after that, I come to the studio. I'm here by 8:30 or 9 o'clock. I'm here until 6:30 or 7. I do more than 40 hours because this is a labor of love and it's a passion. But then I don't take my work home, and I spend time with my child and my husband after that, and weekends are sacred. So that's pretty much my day. I'm in the studio all day long.
Fully present where you are, you know, with your husband at work, in the
yeah,
it's
be here now, right?
Be here now. Yeah, Eckhart Tolle. Yeah. That's so inspirational. Thank you so much,
Yeah, thanks for having me, Abby.
For sharing, and for letting us discover your studio too, and some of your new recent art. I do think of you a lot, obviously, because I have your art on the wall.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Brings me back to the moment when I walked into your exhibition, and fell in love with that, what you do. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. Yeah, there's no bigger compliment than people sharing their living space with my work. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Abby. Hope to see you next time I'm in Paris.
Yeah.
À bientôt.
À bientôt. Salut.
Au revoir. Bye.